Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. I'm a small town girl who took a big risk and quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the U.S. in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew a 7-figure business, visited all the lower 48 states, bought a farm, and today I am still doing what I love to do, selling on Amazon while helping other sellers do it too. Each week, I will share Amazon tips and tricks and bring in guests to share their stories, expertise, and tips on the platforms that they use. Think of this as a sit down with your Amazon bestie where you can learn, ask, start, and grow your online selling business. Welcome to Your Selling Pod. Hey crew, and welcome back. On today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down all of the best items to scan for new Amazon sellers. Just a quick reminder that the model of Amazon selling I do and that I'm referring to in this episode is called retail arbitrage. So I buy stuff from stores like Walmart and I turn around and I sell it on Amazon. If you want more information on RA, you can listen to episode 2 of the podcast, or you can check out my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Nikki Kirk, Nikkikirk, where I have hundreds of videos on the topic. One thing to know if you are a new Amazon seller or if you're interested in selling on Amazon is that everything is just a little bit harder for new sellers. It doesn't have to be hard for long, but just know that when you are starting out, if you are feeling frustrated, if you're confused, feeling like you're just not getting it, you are absolutely on the right track. The reason it's hard is, for one thing, you totally don't know what you're doing yet because you're still learning it. And 2, because you quite literally have to start by scanning everything and anything. You got to start somewhere, right? This leads to a very common new seller question, which is, how do you even know what to scan? The simple answer is that you scan everything. Everything, everything. Especially when you're starting out because you don't know what you can sell yet. So you want to make sure that you scan as much as you possibly can. When I started, I was scanning at Walmart and I went straight for the clearance aisle. I scanned literally everything on the aisle. At the time, it was July, and so they were doing a seasonal changeover, so there was a lot of stuff to scan in that clearance aisle. So much variety of different items to scan. No matter how many items or what time of the year it is, Walmart is always a great place to start because they almost always have a clearance aisle. So that is where I would suggest you start today because that's where I would start if I was starting all over again. Now, most people have a Walmart near them, but if you don't, you can literally pick any store. Even grocery stores have clearance racks. Normally they're in the back by where the stock doors are or the restrooms. Target has clearance on their back end caps. And then drugstores like Walmart and CVS, they have tags that stick out of the aisle, and they're usually like orange or there's some kind of bright color so that you can easily spot them when you go up and down the aisles. If you can't locate a clearance aisle in a store, then just pick any store and pick any aisle and scan everything on it. Yes, you're going to scan everything on it. And I do mean every little thing. And make sure you also scan the fronts of the items like you're taking a photo of the package because you'll be able to pull up different listings that would come up not just with the UPC on the back of the item. So yes, it will take forever, and yes, you are going to be super frustrated. Yes, you're not even going to probably find a single thing, but you are going to learn so much with your scanning. After you've been scanning for a little bit, you'll start to notice what you can sell and what you can't sell. Now, what does that mean, what you can and can't sell? So every Amazon seller, no matter how long they've been selling, there are going to be some brands and sometimes even categories that are still restricted for them. They cannot sell it. What that looks like in the app is it will say request approval or needs approval, or it might just have a red restricted bar over it. The most common red restricted bar example I always give is the LOL dolls. You cannot get ungated in that brand, even if you wanted to. When you click on request approval, it says something along the lines of, sorry, we're not accepting applications at this time. And you can't do it. Even if you wanted to go get an invoice, you wouldn't be able to because they're not accepting it. It's actually pretty rare that an item won't even allow you to apply to sell it. So that is one bonus. But most of the things you can get approved in to sell if you want to. Now, the term we use for approved to sell or allowed to sell is ungating. You're opening that gate. You can get ungated in brands and categories. And what's even more awesome is you can get auto-approved to sell in some brands and categories. So while you're out there scanning in stores, anytime it says you are restricted, don't let that stop you. In the app, at the very bottom, there's a little button that says Request Approval. Go ahead and click it. If the next screen says Congrats, well, congrats! You're approved to sell that item. If the screen asks for a brand letter or an invoice, this means that you are not auto-approved and that you would need to apply with an invoice. I'll go over that more in a little bit, but the one thing I want you to get in the habit of is always asking for approval. Always, always, always. You will be auto-approved or auto-ungated in a lot of stuff, and if you don't ask, then you're not going to. Okay, so back to the clearance aisle. You are scanning everything on it, and you might notice that all of the grocery or maybe the beauty items seem to be restricted. This is something you're going to want to take note of. But just because you cannot sell one grocery item doesn't mean that you cannot sell all of them. So you do want to scan, and see if after a while you have scanned all the different brands of grocery items and you realize you are actually gated in all of them, and it's not auto-approving you, then you are likely gated in the grocery category. So when you click auto-approve, it will also tell you what you need approved for. So it might say you need approval for grocery and gourmet food category, or it might say you need approval to sell Quaker Oats, or it might say both. If it's just the brand that you're gated in, the good news is that you can likely sell in grocery, but just not that brand. Now, I used Quaker Oats because I'm gated in that brand still today. That doesn't mean that you, though, will be gated in it. Amazon is a wild place, and some new sellers can sell things that I cannot, and it's just wild. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, and I just want you to remember, scan, and ask for approval. Another thing that we humans tend to do is just gravitate towards what we know, what we like, and things that we're used to. But the thing with selling on Amazon is that you will sell just the craziest things for prices you cannot believe that someone would actually pay. So don't get caught up in only scanning just like things that you would like. Scan it all. I recently bought some bird feeders on clearance for $21. I sold them on Amazon for $65. Each one made me $23. Now here's the craziest part. I almost passed them by. In fact, I never in my life have wanted a bird feeder, but now that I have a farm, I was like, oh, that might be fun. So I was looking at them for me, and then I thought, wait a second, let me just go ahead and scan that. And then I sold them all. I didn't keep a single bird feeder for myself. The reason I like the Walmart clearance aisle for you when you're starting out is because every Walmart has a different clearance section. So not only do you get to scan a variety of brands and categories all in one aisle, you'll learn what you can sell and what categories in the main store might be worth your time to check out further. But if you find something that is good, you might be able to find more of it in other Walmarts. You're thinking you heard me wrong, right? Nikki, you just said that they are all different. Back when I started, I was scanning the Walmart clearance aisle and I found odor eaters. They were at one Walmart in the clearance aisle, but they were a brand new product. It's a woman's odor eater insole. For whatever reason, that Walmart didn't want to put it in the aisle. I don't know if maybe they didn't have a space for it in their planogram or what, but they ended up in the clearance aisle at this Walmart. I scanned it and it was making crazy money. So I literally went to all of the Walmarts all over the Cleveland, Ohio area, which is where we were at the time in the RV. I went up and down all the Walmarts buying the odor eaters. I would literally park, head straight into the pharmacy area, and then keep buying them all, head back to the truck. Repeat to the next Walmart. It was my very first Amazon chase, and it happened within my first months. While I did make more money from the first ones that were in the clearance aisle, even at regular price, they made great money. More recently, I found another product the same way. It was a protein meal bar, and it was in the clearance aisle at Walmart for $5. But on shelf, it's only $6, so it really wasn't that big of a clearance. I went and I looked at all the different Walmarts looking for it, and I bought them right from the shelf. Not only did I buy that flavor, but I scanned all the different flavors and sold and made a profit on all of them. The clearance aisle will lead you to what I call branch leads. The bar example, I looked for other flavors from that brand. Then, while I was also in that aisle, I went ahead and I scanned all the other brands that were there. Now I'm scanning a whole new aisle of categories that I was led to by the one lead. Over time, you really will kind of know what you can sell and what you can't. So when I first started, I couldn't sell a lot of toys like Lego, Disney Princess, Star Wars, so I just wouldn't even go up and down those aisles. You'll learn which aisles are good and which ones just aren't worth your time. It's not worth your time if you can't sell Star Wars to keep scanning Star Wars. Again, these are all things that you'll just naturally learn as you go. When I go out sourcing, I shop at stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Grocery Outlet, those kind of stores where there's always something new on shelf. Since I scan there so often, headed out every week, I know what I've already scanned before and I know what's new. So you'll start to get a little bit of a feel for it. Say, oh, that's new, and I'll scan it. Sometimes there's some brands like Neutrogena where the products get discontinued. And they're usually at the stores for quite a while, so I'll just keep scanning it. Maybe it's not making a profit right now, but eventually it's going to, so I keep scanning. There are some products I found from TJ Maxx that I used to sell, well then the profit tanks because people start tanking the price, and then it's at TJ Maxx still, so I'll scan it again maybe a year later, and lo and behold, the price has gone back up, so I'll buy it again. This actually happens a lot, so you want to scan everything. If you've scanned it before, go ahead and scan it again because you just never know. When you're new, you're going to be scanning a bunch, so much, and feeling like you are not finding a single thing. You are probably going to leave stores empty-handed, but don't give up. It does get easier. It does work, but you have to keep trying for it to work. I promise you, there are products out there that sell for profit on Amazon. The categories I always recommend for new sellers are home and kitchen items. Just because you happen to scan KitchenAid and it says it's restricted, don't just assume that that means the whole category is restricted. KitchenAid is a restricted brand. The grocery category has such great high profit. Sometimes it's actually ungated for new sellers and sometimes it's gated. It just depends on what Amazon is doing and at what time you start. So always just go ahead and check because you never know. Amazon's wild after all. Office products are ungated for sellers. Some toys actually are ungated. Some beauty type products and arts and crafts. Another example from when I started is I was selling a Wonder Woman cosmetic pouch that I found at CVS. I was gated in the health and beauty category, but I could actually sell this beauty pouch. So you just never know what you might be able to sell. I was also able to sell backpacks. I sold toilet cleaner, which I think fell in the office category. I sold a PC game. I've sold My Life as dolls, which are from Walmart, and then Target has their own brand, Our Generation, sold those as well. Some of the toys that are store specific like that, you can usually sell because they're not those bigger gated brands. Go ahead and scan tools and home improvement. Find out which categories you can sell in and scan those items. Don't make your life harder by getting frustrated with what you cannot sell. If you are just starting out, you're probably gated in topicals, which is beauty items, grocery, and toys. You'll also be gated in some other subcategories, and if you're financially able to, which it's not a whole lot, but when you're starting out, I do know it is limited funds because that's how it was for me. If you really want to get ungated, you can. And if you have a little bit of money that you are ready to spend on it, I highly recommend getting ungated in topical and groceries. So I wrote a guide to help you get ungated in topical and grocery because I knew it needed to be affordable for new sellers, and it's actually one of the first guides I ever created. It had to be affordable and it had to work. So this step-by-step guide, you can actually get ungated for $100 to $200 in the categories that make a lot of profit and will lead to your life being easier as an Amazon seller. If you find yourself scanning a lot of these items and you're like, ugh, I'm restricted, this is why the ungating guide is so beneficial. I think I personally waited something like 3 to 4 months before I finally got ungated in grocery, and I was kicking myself because there was so much profit out there that I could have sold if I had just gotten ungated sooner. So honestly, if you're in this business to make money, it is worth the small investment to get ungated. I have never regretted it. You do not have to have ever sold a certain amount, or actually anything to start getting ungated. You can get ungated whenever you are ready for it. If that means you are currently opening your seller account, or before you ever buy a single item to sell on Amazon, yes, you can get ungated. To get ungated, you have to buy 10 of an item from a wholesaler or a distributor. You need an actual invoice to submit it to Amazon. No, it is not a store receipt. It is an invoice from one business to another, so the distributor to your small business. I actually have 3 different ungating guides at the moment, and they're all broken up into 3 because there are different suppliers for each one. So there's a grocery and topical one, there's a toy one, and there's a premium brand one. They walk you through how to get ungated step by step. And they also come with a Facebook group for support, so you can talk to other sellers in there both through your ungating order as well as anything else that comes up on your Amazon journey. It's a great community, and they really do help you out on your journey. To learn more about the guides or to grab them for your business, you can check them out at yoursellingguide.com/shop, or I'll add the link in my show notes. So just remember, you as a new seller are going to be frustrated. You're going to feel like you are doing something wrong, that it's just not possible, that everyone has been fooling you. But I promise you, there is stuff out there that makes money. So just keep scanning, scanning, scanning. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back next week for another episode. You can follow and subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast player. You can watch the videos on YouTube at Your Selling Podcast. And you can learn more from me about all things Amazon selling at yoursellingguide.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast player. It really means a lot. If you have a question, if you're a member of the YSG community, or you know someone who would make a great guest, please email me at podcast@yoursellingguide.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, happy sourcing.